Hello, psychologist Yulia Latunenko here with a topic about relationships. Relationships are poison. This is how relationships look in many couples. Many people have problems in relationships in the family. Problems that result in psychological trauma, divorce, unhappy children, psychosomatic illnesses. Time wasted fruitlessly on conversations, attempts to prove something to a partner, devaluation, criticism, manipulation, blackmail, pressure, coercion into something, betrayals, jealousy, control, dependency, financial or emotional dependency, pain, resentment, guilt, shame. And all of this, to some extent, is present in almost 100% of families. Why is this so? How can a couple build normal, healthy relationships? And why does it seem that relationships are a poison for two people? Not just for the two, but also for the children who are born into such relationships, who then suffer from their parents and receive their own childhood traumas, and their children receive their own childhood traumas. Thus, from generation to generation, this poison is passed on through children, through what they see with their own eyes, what happens between their father and mother. So why does all this happen to us? Why do relationships in which people live for several years seem so unhappy? Yes, at the beginning all relationships seem like paradise, like something pleasant when we fall in love romantically, and then we become disappointed. Why is that? Because everything you have in adult life is a consequence of what you had in childhood, a consequence of what you saw in your childhood families. And it's not the relationships that are the poison in an adult's life, but rather the childhood traumas that a person hasn't worked through and isn't aware of, which poison their adult life. And unfortunately, they poison not only relationships in a couple, but also relationships at work, hindering a person from earning money and building a career. This is all the poison that was passed on to you by your parents, your grandparents. How do childhood traumas affect a person? They make a person dependent, infantile. A person cannot take responsibility for themselves. A person looks for someone among others who will solve all their problems as if they were their mom and dad. A person who was underfed, unloved, unappreciated in childhood will seek this in other people, projecting parental figures onto them. In one way or another, in close relationships, these projections become a real nightmare for both people. Therefore, relationships can only be called toxic for immature people, for those who haven't even begun to address their childhood trauma. So, what do relationships look like in adult couples who have already recognized their childhood traumas and have different mature reactions to triggering situations? What do their relationships look like? I will talk about this now, but let me remind you that I welcome all your subscriptions to my channel, and I would be very pleased if you like this video and leave your comment. Are all these problems that I listed at the beginning of the video in relationships familiar to you? Or at least one or two of these problems? People who have worked through their childhood traumas build relationships based on acceptance, respect for each other's boundaries, and respect for the person as an individual. People who have worked through their childhood traumas know how to be engaged and interested in their partner's life. They do not show indifference, like immature and codependent people. People who have worked through their childhood traumas demonstrate tolerance towards their partner's character traits. They accept them. They know how to take responsibility and be in closeness while not losing their sense of autonomy, not dissolving, but feeling their own boundaries. People who have worked through their childhood traumas respect their partner's boundaries. They are interested in whether I am violating your boundaries when, for example, I enter your room and start talking to you without even asking if you are in a state to talk to me at all. Blogger, people are interested in the boundaries of others. But this is characteristic only of mature individuals. Children, they don't do that. They inherently expect to receive as much love and attention as they need every day. And it often happens that due to childhood traumas, a person remains hungry and bottomless. No matter how much attention and love you give, it falls into an abyss. And such a person may, without intending to, become toxic in relationships because they were not nurtured by their parents. They endlessly need respect, attention, love, and recognition. And they become clingy, controlling, and jealous. Blogger, people who build mature relationships, having realized their childhood traumas, share responsibility for everything 50-50. Each person in the couple is responsible for their words, feelings, and actions. They don't say to each other, "You offended me, you scared me, you did something like that." They say, "I got scared, I got offended, and this is the issue I bring to you. I come to have a dialogue." People in mature relationships know how to have a dialogue. Immature people don't know what a dialogue is. They demand, pressure, and blackmail. They don't even anticipate that someone might say no to them. Because a child, they suffer. When their mother says no to them, it's such a childish stance not to give a partner the right to say no and stop. Mature people know how to take from themselves everything that they find very pleasant to take from a partner. In other words, they are not afraid of loneliness. And one of the philosophers said that people who are afraid of loneliness and helplessness should absolutely not build relationships, because such relationships will be toxic, both for the person, themselves, and for their partner. Blogger, give a like, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for my new videos with psychology content.